Good morning, guys. Okay, so today we're going to read chapter 7. Before we begin, I want to ask you guys about some of the questions I asked yesterday. So, why was Nick having trouble writing his report? I think he was having trouble writing his report because he's a procrastinator. He didn't really want to do it. He wanted to try to find some sneaky way to get by with something, and that's kind of what he did by prolonging the report to make it as long as possible so they wouldn't even have language arts class that day. What was the first thing Nick did to introduce his new word? Okay, so the first thing he did was go into the store and ask for a Frindle. And he never said the word pen. He made the cashier give him a Frindle without asking for it. And then she kind of became used to the word, so whenever 7 kids come in and ask for it, she just automatically knows what it is. So that's kind of why he was like really excited, thinking that this plan was going to work. Okay, then the next question was, what does the chapter title Word Wars indicate? Indicate there's going to be a little bit of trouble ahead, right? Going to be a little bit of trouble. Why do you think the author... Oh, never mind. It's about chapters 8 and 9. So, we're going to read chapter 7 and Word Wars. School was the perfect place to launch a new word. And since that was a major historical event, Nick wanted to begin in exactly the right class. 7th period, language arts. Nick raised his hand first thing after the bell rang and said, "Mrs. Granger, I forgot my Frindle." Sitting 3 rows away, John blurted out, "I have an extra one you can borrow, Nick." Then John made a big show of looking for something in his backpack. "I think I have an extra Frindle. I told my mom to get me 3 or 4. I'm sure I had a Frindle in here yesterday, but I must have taken it. Oh, wait, here it is." And then John made a big show of throwing it over to Nick, and Nick missed it on purpose. Then he made a big show of finding it. Mrs. Granger and every kid in the class got the message loud and clear. That black plastic thing that Nick borrowed from John had a funny name, a different name, a new name, Frindle. There was a lot of giggling, but Mrs. Granger turned up the power in her eyes and swept the room into silence. And the rest of the class went by according to plan, her plan. As everyone was leaving class, Mrs. Granger said, "Nicholas, I'd like to have a word with you." And she emphasized the word word. Nick's mouth felt dry and he gulped, but his mind stayed clear. He walked up to her desk. "Yes, Mrs. Granger?" "It's a funny idea, Nicholas, but I will not have my class disrupted again. Is that clear?" Her eyes were lit up, but it was mostly light, not much heat. "Idea? What idea?" asked Nick as he tried to make his eyes as blank as possible. "You know what I mean, Nicholas. I'm talking about the performance that you and John gave at the start of the class. I'm talking about this." And she held her pen up, an old maroon fountain pen with a blue cap. "But I really didn't have a Frindle with me," said Nick, amazed at his own bravery. And hiding behind his glasses, Nick kept his eyes wide and blank. Mrs. Granger's eyes flashed and then narrowed. Her lips formed a thin, hard line. She was quiet for a few seconds, and then she said, "I see. Very well. Then I guess we have nothing more to discuss today, Nicholas. You may go." "Thanks, Mrs. Granger," said Nick, and he grabbed his backpack and headed for the door. And when he was almost stepping out into the hallway, he said, "And I promise I won't forget my Frindle again. Bye." End of chapter. Okay, so what was the main idea about this chapter? What was it all about? What was he trying to do? And why does he think that school is the perfect place to launch the new word? And then as we read chapters 7 through 9, I want you to think about which character does the most to stop the spread of the word Frindle. Okay, and then is that answer fact or opinion? Can you prove it or can you not? Okay, all right, so be thinking about that, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.